Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander. This is 4 brand new decks in today's gameplay video, and I'm excited to see how they do against each other. Completely different mechanics, so it should be a lot of fun. We've got Captain America, the First Avenger, Elenda and Azor, Arabella, Abandoned Doll, and Tiny Bones, Bauble Burglar. These 3 over here, we have played against other people, and they've all done pretty well. Tiny Bones is the only untested deck of the 4 of them. This will be interesting to see how he does in this matchup of 3 games. And Elenda and Azor and Arabella are really interesting because the chat on Twitch helped me make them. Or rather, they helped me cut over 100 cards for each one. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool having people show up in chat and give me suggestions on what cards to cut and what cards to add. It was a lot of fun to do, and I definitely want to continue to do it, especially into the new year. So look for that on the Unskilled Commander on Twitch. Not a set schedule on it just yet because I can't make a bajillion decks, but I definitely want to do it at least once a month in addition to my charity streams that I do a couple times a year, which I'm planning on doing a few more of those next year versus this year, 2024. As always, we've taken the first 3 turns to try and get past a bunch of play lands and skips. However, we have actually done some stuff, so it's going to take a few minutes to catch up. Captain America went first, so we're going to start turn 4 over here. A lot of stuff happened on Captain America. We were able to play him and the Bloodforged Battle Axe on turn 3, and his ability is, Captain America is a 4/4 with the ability Throw, pay 3, and unattach an equipment from Captain America. It deals damage equal to its mana value as you choose, divided among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Then he also has Catch. At the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Captain America. So it's a really cool play on his throwing the shield. You pay 3 in your main phase, throw an equipment, it deals some damage, and then automatically on your upkeep, or on your combat rather, you get to re-equip it. So I was able to auto-equip the Bloodforged Battle Axe on turn 3. He didn't have haste, but on turn 4 he did. And I was also able to play Sword of Light and Shadow. So Bloodforged Battle Axe, equipped creature gets +2/+0, and whenever you deal damage to a player with the Battle Axe, it makes a token copy of itself. Sword of Light and Shadow, equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from white and black. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life and return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Once we auto-equipped the Sword of Light and Shadow, we swung it over at Tiny Bones for 8 commander damage they didn't block. We made a token copy of the Battle Axe, and we'd also been able on turn 4 to play Blacksmith's Talent. It's an enchantment that starts out with, whenever it enters, you make a 1/1 token sword equipment that has a quick cost of 2, no big deal, but you can pay to level it up and activate better abilities along the way. However, on Tiny Bones' turn, they immediately destroy Captain America, which is where we are now. I'll explain everything else as we get to each of those decks. So we're going to go ahead and untap on turn 4, upkeep, draw. Nice, it's a land, so we're going to play a mountain. So we have just enough of white, blue, red, and then 2 others to recast Captain America. We're going to move to the beginning of combat and auto-equip the Sword of Light and Shadow. Again, he does not have haste, so we can't go swinging, but that's okay. We have a pretty good blocker, and we will pass. I hope everyone's having a good day out there while you're watching this. I appreciate you checking out the channel. Please subscribe, throw some likes around. Check out my other social medias. They're in the link in the description below. Really appreciate it if you checked out like TikTok and all that stuff where I put lots of comedy skits, combos from magic cards, things like that. It's a lot of fun. Over here on Tiny Bones, we were able to play Tiny Bones himself, which is a 1/3. Whenever an opponent discards a card, exile it from their graveyard with a stash counter on it. During your turn, you may play cards with stash counters on them from exile, and you can use mana of any color to do so. You can also pay for and tap Tiny Bones to make each opponent discard a card. We also got the Soul Ring out early, and then last turn we were able to play Sword of Feast and Famine. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and green, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, they discard a card and you untap all your lands. However, we weren't able to equip it. And this Tiny Bones is not a Voltron deck. I only have about 4 or 5 equipments in there, mostly to protect him. Protection from black and green is decent. They do have good destruction spells in them, in those colors. But mainly it's also in there because its ability says target a player that you hit discards a card. That feeds into his ability. So we're going to untap over here on turn 4. Upkeep, draw. Sweet, it's a swamp. We're going to play that. I will go ahead and tap the Soul Ring to equip the Sword of Feast and Famine. So Tiny Bones is now a 3/5. I'm going to then tap 4 black mana to play Rankle, Master of Pranks. A 3/3 with flying and haste. Whenever Rankle, Master of Pranks deals combat damage to a player, choose any number of the following. Each player discards a card, each player loses a life and draws a card, each player sacrifices a creature. Each player sacrifices a creature does seem tempting because it would get Captain America gone again, which would make it really expensive to recast and free up the board a little bit. However, I don't know that we do that. And in terms of Tiny Bones, he has a discard deck. I put a ton of cards in here that say target opponent, or hopefully, ideally, all opponents, but most of them just say target opponent discards a card so that you can use his ability. However, a lot of people, when they build Tiny Bones, they also put in a ton of card draw for your opponents, because the idea is that if their hands are empty, your discard spells are useless in your hand. However, I don't like to do that because, as I've said with my Shieldred deck, if I'm making my opponents draw cards, they're just going to draw into their win cons faster, or draw into their answers and destroy my commander. We'll see if that actually pans out and works well for Tiny Bones. Might have to tweak it. So I'm going to go ahead and move to combat with Rankle. 3/3 flyer. You hit me already. I'm going to swing this at you. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to choose each player discards a card. I'm going to discard Binding Negotiation. Captain America will discard Sword of Vengeance, but this gets exiled over here. Got some good cards over here, but we're going to discard Aetherize. And I think Arabella will discard Tome of Legends. So put that little marker on them. So those are exiled with a stash counter. So now I can play them as long as Tiny Bones is on the field, and I can use mana of any color to do so. However, I am tapped out. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. So Arabella Abandoned Doll, we were able to get her out on turn 2. She's a 1/3 that whenever she attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Now, a lot of people build this in terms of tokens, which makes total sense. A bajillion 1/1 tokens is going to do a lot of damage to opponents off a couple of swings. However, I didn't want to just copy everybody else's deck. Not that I made it in drastically different. I just chose to use actual creatures that are power 2 or less as opposed to tokens. There is one enchantment that makes them, and maybe like 2 creatures that make 1 or 2 tokens, but that's it. Also, last turn on turn 3, we played Mentor of the Meek. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Then we swung with Arabella over at the vampires because they were defenseless at the time. Everybody lost 2 and we gained 2. So I'm going to play a Rogue's Passage, which is great for this because a 1/3 with no abilities, no keywords rather, isn't going to get through very often. So you need to find a way to make it so that she can swing without getting blown up in or blocked. To that end, I'm going to tap 2 and play Ragged Playmate. Pay 1 and tap it. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Could do that. Oh, actually, I can do it anyway. So I'm going to pay 1 off of Mentor the Meek's trigger to draw a card. Since we're discarding, this is great to help us stay ahead of the game. Now, I don't believe I can activate his ability because they have Summoning Sickness. And there is no really good... Well, they have a 1/4, we have a 1/3. Even if they block, neither one dies, so it's not that dangerous. And it's an attack trigger, not a damage trigger. So yes, I will swing Arabella at you again. You will block it because you don't want any commander damage, even though it's only 1. However, on the attack, each opponent is going to lose 3 life, and I'm going to gain 3 life. But that is all I can do, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. This is my new Vampires deck, and we were able to play Indulging Patriarch, Indulging Patrician on turn 3. It's a 1/4 flyer with lifelink. Oh, so we do gain a life, actually, from that interchange. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. I'm going to play Sunken Hollow for turn. Unfortunately, it comes in tapped because I have over 2 lands. And then I will tap a white and 1 other to play Suture Priest. So 1/1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under opponent's control, you may have them lose that life. Now, the may ability means if you forget, they don't have to take it. I'm definitely going to forget, but we're going to pretend that I'm sitting behind this deck the whole time and trying to pay attention. So whenever I come back over here and be like, shoot, I had Suture Priest, we can take a couple dings here and there. Now, it is flying with lifelink, but I don't know that I really want to worry about that right now. 1 life is not going to help much, and it's good to have that flyer just to deter Rankle. So we're going to go ahead and pass turn. All right, Captain, let's see what you got. We're going to untap, upkeep, and draw on turn 5, and we're going to get mean. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nazgul Battle Mace. Equipped creature has Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, put that card onto the battlefield under your control unless that player pays 3 life. Here's where Captain America can get real nasty. So I'm going to move to the beginning of combat, auto-equip the Battle Mace. Now remember, with the sword on him, he has protection from white and black. That means nothing over here can block, and these 2 can't block, and those two creatures can't block. Now the doll can't, or the ragdoll can. But that's okay, we don't need to. Although they have 45 life, so actually, we would want to send it that way. The Annihilator 1 seems real bad right now. And you can see how Captain America is almost, no, I'm not going to say broken, but it's super powerful. Because in a normal game, okay, I could play the Battle Axe, but it costs 3 to equip. I wouldn't be able to equip it till next turn, giving people a chance to try and find their artifact removal and get rid of it. Or just blow up Captain again. With that auto-equip, he's ready to go with Annihilator 1 on turn 5. And we still have 3 equipments, basically, that we could attach to him if we used the mana. And we could also level up the blacksmith talent. I don't like the discard, but I don't know that that's a threat. It's just an annoyance at this point. Arabella does actually seem like the biggest threat, so Cap's going to move. Oh, so they can't block because it's Menace. That's right. So yeah, 4, 5, 6. So it's only 6 damage. However, it's going to be whatever you sacrifice is going to come onto my board, and you're going to take 6 damage. 6 commander, and now you have to sacrifice something. I think we'll sacrifice the Rogue's Passage, honestly. Well, giving that to Captain America is not a good idea. Yeah, that is dumb. Alright, I'll get rid of one of the mountains. So you get an extra land on your field, but it was tapped, so there's that. And whenever the sword deals damage, I gain 3 life, and I don't have any creatures in the graveyard. I think everybody realizes that Capped is the threat right now. And we're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Well, I'm going to tap Soul Ring for Cloak and Dagger. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Shroud. Geez, it's 3 to equip. So I will pay 3 to equip it to Tiny Bones. So Tiny Bones is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually decent for someone that's not really meant to attack much. But the important part is they have Shroud. I have 1 extra mana, definitely nothing I can do with that. But yeah, we're swinging 3 at you again. 1, 2, 3. And now everyone's going to discard a card. I'm going to discard Grave Consequences. Well, that's pretty good. I think we'll get rid of Goldbug, actually. So that's over here with a counter. Now, there is an Aetherize in that pile, and if we leave 4 mana up, we could conceivably use that next turn when Captain America attacks. So that's not, sorry. We're not untapping. We're discarding. I will discard an Unexpected Windfall, and I will discard, man, this is not good, another Fog Spell, sort of Batwing Broom. I didn't discard any 1-drops, so okay. That's all there is. We're going to pass turn. Now, one of the nice things is, or bad things from Tiny Bones' perspective, is that everyone knows what is being discarded and what is in that pile. So now everyone knows that Tiny Bones has a couple different ways to stop Captain America, which is good. They probably won't mind letting it happen, but Captain America now knows it, and he gets a turn before Tiny Bones. So we're going to untap over here, upkeep, draw, and unfortunately, we've got 1 less mana to work with. I will tap 2 and play Tithe Taker. It's a 2/1 during your turn. Spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponents activate cost 1 more unless they're mana abilities. And it has Afterlife 1. When it dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. I will pay the 1 for Mentor of the Meek to draw a card. And I was kind of hoping for a land, honestly, and it is not. Captain America is open, so Arabella will absolutely swing at that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and everybody loses 4. And Cap takes 1 Arabella commander damage. Every little bit helps. Now, of course, we're hurting everybody else in the process, so they're not going to be pleased with that, but whatever. Pass turn. We untap over here. Upkeep, draw. Nope, not a land that we need because our commander is very expensive. White, black, and then 2 others to play Cliffhaven Vampire. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. See, I totally forgot Suture Priest. We did play a creature over here, so you're going to lose a life. We didn't play any over there. We're playing a creature over here, so we gain a life. And as little damage as it's going to matter, we're going to swing 2 at you, 1, 2, and then gain 1 life off of the lifelink over here. I did gain a life, so that means each opponent loses 1. And actually, that would have happened whenever it entered the battlefield, because that's entering the battlefield. It's on the battlefield when Suture Priest activates. So it would see that other life gain, so that would be 1 more hit to everybody. But that's all we can do. We're going to pass turn. All right, untapping on turn 6. What can Captain America do? I'm going to tap the Arcane Signet for blue and play Thoughtseize. Affinity for artifacts. It costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only a 4 colorless, so it only costs 1 blue. Draw 2 cards. 1, 2. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay 3 mana and make the talent Blacksmith's talent up to phase 2, level 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, attach target equipment you control to up to 1 target creature you control. I have 2 mana up, nothing I can really do with it. Oops, this is untapped. So I will move to the beginning of combat. I will use the Blacksmith's talent to equip the original Bloodforged Battle Axe, then use Captain America's catch ability to do the second one. So now Captain America is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, and the whole gimme. Alright, that was the beginning of combat, so I will swing at you. So it's Menace, you only have one creature. Alright, 10 damage. You were at 18 commander damage, but it was Annihilator 1 first, obviously, so you have to get rid of something. I guess we'll get rid of this swamp, which then would come to you. And then because it dealt damage, I gain 3 life and return a creature. Still don't have a creature in the graveyard, that's fine. And I make 2 more battle axes. Pretty fun. That's all we can do though, so we're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a swamp that I just top decked, so I replaced it. And then we will go 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Hostile Investigator. 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. I'm going to choose you, obviously. You'll discard, enter the Enigma. Target creature can't be blocked this turn, and you draw a card. And then the Investigator also says whenever one or more players discard one or more cards, investigate. It only happens once each turn. So that just means I get a clue. Get a clue, man. So I can pay 2 sacrifice to draw a card. I do have 2, but I don't want to draw a card because I don't want anything to discard because Rankle is going for the Crankle. 1, 2, oops, wrong way. 3 damage to you, everybody discards. We'll do Foundry Inspector. Oh, darn it. I totally forgot that I was going to try and save the mana for the counter spells, or the Aetherize and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a misplay, but we'll let it fly. We'll get rid of this sword because everyone's got swords apparently. I guess we'll get rid of the banner because we're not playing that for a while. I think now that we've connected with that, we'll go ahead and sack the clue to draw a card. It's just a land. We're not going to survive past turn. That was foolish. See, that's what I'm going to have to really learn about Tiny Bones is remembering to play that pile. Because I'm so used to like dumping my hand every turn as much as I can because the more cards you have out, not that it puts you in a real advantage, but it's basically, okay, well you have more creatures, you have more equipment, whatever, you're doing things, you have a better chance. And I have to get out of that mindset for that particular deck. We're going to untap. It's almost like playing a control deck with like counter spells and stuff. You have to leave the mana up to play other things. But untap, upkeep, draw. We'll tap. Okay, well first of all, Suture Priest, so they'll take 1. We're going to tap 3. Nope, I can't actually do that. Don't have the right colors. So we'll just tap the planes for Authority of the Consoles. Creatures your opponents enter the battlefield tapped, and when a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. We're going to swing at Cap for 1 damage, but 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone's going to take 4. No, I gain 4. Tiny Bones is like, could you not swing? I'm trying to do stuff over here. And we're like, you're going to die anyway, who cares? But that's all we can do, we pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I have 3 answers, but there really isn't a point in playing them because Cap's not hurting me. He's going to finish off Tiny Bones and then come for one of the 2 of us. Probably them because they're the ones doing the most damage. We have the chance to just kind of sit and wait. However, we're missing land drops, which is very unfortunate. And again, I've had that issue with this where it's like it doesn't want to draw lands, but like it has 36 lands in it. It's no different than any other ones. I don't understand why, but we'll pass. So we're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and put this on level 3. During your turn, equipped creatures you control have double strike and haste. Still have 3 mana, so the Bloodforged Battle Axe is 2 mana to equip, so we'll go ahead and toss one of them on. Now, here's the thing. I'm super tempted to like swing at somebody else, but I can't get through, because that would be funny. Just to just like, just one-shot somebody else and be like, what the heck? Well, what's he at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 13, 14, 15. Yeah, we really probably could. Because we're just to make this easier on ourselves, we're going to move to the beginning of combat and use both abilities to equip the last 2 equipments on. So like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. So he's a 15/15 with Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, and then we get whatever annihilates. Gross. I'm really tempted to do that. Because here's a problem. First of all, it's turn 7. But here's a quirk in my personality that when a commander damage commander like this gets that high, I hate wasting it on someone that only has 1 or 2 damage left. Literally, Tiny Bones has 18 Captain America commander damage. I only need 3 more damage from Cap to take them out. He is now lethal on everybody. because I have something in my hand. Well, lethal on any one person that he swings. I think it would be kind of funny to just take someone else out, because what are they going to do? What's Tiny Bones going to do? Swing the Rankle at me again, make everybody discard. Even if, now of course I will be defenseless, even if everybody cracked back, they couldn't kill me. Yeah, I say we do it. I say we do it. It's going to be mean and funny. I think it's funny, because they are doing quite a bit of damage, and they're gaining quite a bit of life. So we're moving, that was combat. We're swinging Captain America at you. Whoops. No, sorry. That is not an instant. So, and see, now here's the thing. It's like, hey, you won. You know, if this was a real game, shit out of luck. I go to play it. Oh my god, it's not a sorcery. Ah, crap. I want to see it happen. I want to see what happens, so we're going to do it. We're going to tap for a red and crash through. Creatures you control gain trample until end of turn, and I draw a card. So then I move to the beginning of combat, equip the last 2 equipment, and declare attacking Captain America against you. He is now a 15/15 with trample. Oh no, the double strike's over here. There we go. I'm like, why did I think he had double strike? He does have double strike, so yes. So 15 damage on the first strike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toughness to block, even if you stack block. That puts it down to 11 getting through, and then the crack of another 15. More than enough to be lethal commander damage. Kaboosh. That's pretty impressive. I like it. Now we are defenses down. We do gain 3 life though. And we did have the Annihilator 3, but it doesn't matter because stuff's going to go back to you. We have your mountain, so we do lose the mountain. That goes back to you. That's the only thing we got off of you this turn. Everyone's like, what just happened? Oh my gosh. Untap, upkeep, draw. We're going to play Swamp Return. Tap a green. Well, that's true. Hang on. We have access to these other things, right? What do we need? We need 4 mana to play the Aetherize. Or even the Broodwing, right? We don't even need that much. What's this? Yeah, so actually we only need 2 mana. So then we can play, tap 1, 2, 3 to play Dire Sight, Surveil 2, then draw 2, then lose 2. It's risky. Yeah, I guess I will put 2 of these in the graveyard and then draw 2. Oh, good. So, okay, that's not fun. Then I lose 2. Then we're going to go to combat. We're going to swing everything. 3 in the air. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're going to take 12 damage. Wait a second. Okay, 5 commander, 7 other. When this equipped feature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. We're going to discard Propaganda and untap all my lands, which is even nice. Also, the Rankle effect triggers, so everyone discards. Will discard a swamp. They'll discard the Moon Sphere, and screw it, might as well give them something, right? They'll discard Comeuppance. Also, forgot that the Moon Sphere goes over here into the pile, back in the pile. So Rankle just has like a crap ton of evasion, which is not actually good. But he's so low, it might, he can't take too much damage from anything. That, I believe, is all the end steps. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. See, here's the thing. I really can't play anything because I have a Void Rend, which destroy target non-land permanent. I have to save that for when Captain America comes at me. And it's a 3-drop, and I only have 4 mana, so I can't play anything else, which is problematic. So we're going to... But we can still attack. Okay, first of all, creatures entering. I don't believe any did. I guess we'll send the flyer at cap to take 1 damage. We gain a life. Then because we gain the life, each opponent loses a life. Which, see, that is hurting them, but then we pass. And they're like, stop hurting me. I'm the only one that can stop cap. And they're like, sorry, but you're not. So we're going to untap. Upkeep over here. Draw for turn. That's a pretty sick card. Oh, I forgot. I did connect. So I made a bunch more battle axes. I would have made 4 more battle axes. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So this is just times 7. Because we have 8 total battle axes, which is crazy. This is turn 8. Do I have the right colors? Yes. So 2 white, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Mantle of the Ancients. Well, hang on. Sorry. First of all, actually I should be like... Because they're not all equipped. I just made the axes. So I have 4 battle axes that are just sitting there, and I just played Mantle of the Ancients. Enchant creature. When Mantle of the Ancients enters the battlefield, return any number of target aura and equipment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target permanent. Don't have any. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it. Holy crap. So then we move to combat, auto-equip 2 of the 4 battle axes. And here's the thing. We know they're going to stop us. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's getting +10/+10 just off of this. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 29. He's a 29-29. Oh my gosh. With Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, Double Strike, and Haste. I mean, we know it's not going to work, but we're going to swing in response. They're going to pay 2 and do Batwing. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. If white was paid, well, you can spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So I think that should be okay. As if it was mana of any color. You're spending it as if it was white or black. So we're saying that this one's white, this one's black. I mean, the black is guaranteed because we actually do have a swamp. I think it should be fine. And then each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature he or she controls, if the black was paid. So they're going to lose a life, and combat damage is prevented. First of all, I should get these out of there. Yeah, okay, there we go. Because once they perished, their cards were no longer exiled. I think, right? I mean, I know whenever a person dies, all their stuff goes with them. Like enchantments, if they've enchanted someone else's creatures, all that kind of stuff. So if you had one of their creatures, you lose it. So that should be it. See, now Captain America's going to lose. So that's bad. Well, I mean, it was funny. Because now he's at 9, I forgot about everybody having freaking answers. So, we would gain 3 life. 1, 2, no, 1, 2, 3. We would not, because we didn't connect. So nothing happens, nothing triggers. We don't get battle axes, we don't get anything. Pass turn, Rankles, or Tiny Bones is like, my bones, they are tiny. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he says. So now, we're going to play a Swamp for turn, tap 2, tap Soul Ring, for Court of Ambition. Whenever Court of Ambition enters, you become the Monarch. I am the Monarch. Beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If you're the Monarch, instead, each opponent loses 6 life unless they discard a card. Okay, so they are at 9 life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so I have to swing 2 creatures. We're going to move to combat. We're going to swing Tiny Bones and the guy. So no discard triggers. I think I missed some clue tokens, but that's okay. So yeah, Kaboosh. It was a valiant effort, Cap. You did amazing. Scarily so. But you were too dangerous for your own good, America. Seems fitting, don't you think? Oops. But that means we lose any of his cards from over here. These all come over there. There we go. So now we only have access to your cards. Oh, you get your swamp back, but we'll just put it in the graveyard, I believe. Because it got exiled, so yeah. Actually, it probably is in exile, but I don't have graveyard recursion. We have a blocker, at least. We're going to pass. So we'll probably lose the Monarch, unfortunately. But who's to say? I'm to say. We untap, upkeep, draw. Wow. Again, we really can't do anything. You do have a flyer, and that's true. Like, if we don't discard... Wait, how's it worded? So, sorry, actually, it's if you are the Monarch, each opponent has to take 6 damage or discard 2 cards. And then we know, when we discard, they go to them. Now, here's the thing. They're only at 3 life, but they have 4 open mana, and which is enough to play that comeuppance that's sitting on the top there, which would destroy only 2 of the creatures. And Rankle is a 3/3, so he can't destroy either of the flyers. So we're going to go ahead and swing both of them at Tiny Bones. Rankle will block the Cliffhaven Vampire. They will take a damage, will gain a life, and then they'll take a damage from us gaining a life. And we have to make sure that if they cannot play a creature, not that they really have a ton of creatures to play, and there's nothing in their hand also. Yeah, we'll see. We'll pass turn. It's funny because now it's kind of just a answer battle. So we're going to untap over here. Upkeep. Upkeep. Do you want to discard 2 cards or take 6 damage? We'll say, no, we did damage to them, so we were the Monarch. So first of all, we draw an extra card. Not a land still. So they're not the Monarch, so do you want to lose 3 life or discard a card? We'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll lose 3 life. Draw for turn. It's a swamp. That's not ideal. So swinging out is a foolish idea because they have 3, we have 3. We have to have blockers for everything now because anything gets through, we take a damage, or we lose. And we can't play a creature, and if they gain a life in any way, we lose. So it's tempting to be like, hey, go ahead. Now let's see, what do we have? We've got the banner, which isn't going to help because this isn't really a kindred kind of deck. So we only have 2 things, Comeuppance and Aetherize, at this point to use. We'll keep them because they're going to try and attack. But then again, at this point, they don't need to. They just need to find a way to gain a life. So we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Wow. We're looking at another one of those, oh, my deck didn't do anything, so everyone left me alone, and now I'm going to win at the end step kind of thing, which I just talked about on TikTok. Untap, upkeep, draw. Yeah, here we go. Do we have the right colors just to be sure? Yep. We're going to tap for 2 black, and 2 others. Sanctum Seeker, this is it. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life before combat's even dealt. But they do have the comeuppance, so that would hit us. And if we swung out, then they would swing. Yeah, we're still putting them on the ropes. We're forcing them to use it, so I say do that. We're going to go ahead and we don't even have to swing that much, really. What am I thinking? We will swing 1 creature at you. On attack, you're going to take a damage. At instant speed, you tap 4, play Comeuppance. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to you and planeswalkers you control this turn by sources you don't control. If damage from a creature source is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to that creature. If damage from a non-creature source is prevented this way, it goes to the controller. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, I think that's a non-creature source, because it doesn't say when a vampire you control attacks, it deals 1 damage. It just says if a vampire attacks, they magically lose it. So I think I'm going to take a damage, and then because we're swinging with a creature, that 1 damage would be prevented, and it would take 1 damage, but thankfully it's a 1/4, so it doesn't kill it, so who cares? Wah, wah. But you. Shoot. I guess I kind of did that in the wrong order, sort of. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain a life, so we'll gain a life when that entered. We gain life, each opponent loses 1 life, which is technically when the comeuppance would have actually been done before we even go to attack. So when we kind of wouldn't have bothered to attack, because it's like when it enters, you're going to take a damage. Nope, comeuppance, so I take a damage, which I kind of already did. So I think we should go back down 1. I don't know. I did mess that up a little bit. But yeah, the Seeker enters. We gain a life. We gained a life. You take a damage. You play a comeuppance. So we end up taking damage. So we basically didn't gain anything. And since that's in effect till the end of turn, it says this turn, so there's no point in swinging. So we wouldn't have swung. Now we pass. So then it comes back over here. Upkeep. Do you want to discard or take a damage? Sure, we'll discard. Sure, we'll discard the Letter of Acceptance, which is just a mana rock, but you can pay 2 to sack it. We draw a card. I will play, tap 3, for the enchantment Protection Racket. At the beginning of your upkeep, repeat the following process for each opponent in turn order. Reveal the top card of your library. That player may pay life equal to that card's mana value. If they do, exile the card, otherwise you put it in your hand. Now, like I said, we are definitely in a precarious predicament, because we need to leave this 4 up for Aetherize, so that means we only have 2 mana. That's not enough to do anything, and we can't attack because they have 2 flyers, and if we attack, we then become vulnerable. Although, I guess the thing is, see, they're at 26 life. I don't think that Tiny Bones can pull this off because he doesn't have life gain, and we only have that 1 last Aetherize. But I guess if we put the pressure on, right? We say, I'm going to combat, swinging everything at you. This has protection from black and from green, black and black. So the only thing that can block is the Suture Priest. Oh yeah, what am I thinking? It doesn't matter. I know what I have in my hand, so at that point, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It doesn't matter. Actually, we can even block and win. Yeah, so attacking is foolish, but there's no other recourse. If we don't attack, they're going to do something and win, because we only have 1 life. All they have to do, because of the Suture Priest and the Cliffhaven, gain a life, and then 1 damage, we're done. We no longer have anything that can stop indirect damage like that. So, yeah, we'll block anything with the life-linking vampire. We'll block Rankle. Doesn't matter how much we take. We'll take the rest of it. Who cares? Because we gain a life. We gained a life. You take a damage. Baboosh, you're dead. And we go down like, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go down like 10. But yeah, there you go. Vampires win off of a kind of a cheap win because everyone just left them alone. We didn't even get the commander out. Clearly mana screwed. We only had 4 lands. The synergy within vampires in general is very strong, so it was easy for them to eke out the win at the end. But Tiny Bones didn't do horrible. You know, the discarding, as I said, we just need to learn how to use that discard better and play the cards from discard more. But I like it so far. It has potential. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you saw some cool cards that you want to put in your decks, or maybe you want to build some of these commanders. Let me know in the comments if you already have them, or what you would do to make your own version. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.